You feel like you are here, right now, in this moment, alive inside the present. But what if that feeling is always late? What if everything you have ever experienced, every thought, every sound, every emotion has already happened by the time you become aware of it? What if you have never once lived in the present, but have always lived in the past? This idea sounds unsettling because it quietly removes something we rely on: immediacy, the sense that life is happening as it unfolds. Yet, when physics and neuroscience are taken seriously, immediacy begins to disappear. Let's start with something undeniable. Nothing reaches you instantly. Light takes time to travel. Sound takes time to move through air. Signals take time to travel through nerves. Even the fastest signal possible, light, still takes time. When you look at the world around you, you are not seeing things as they are now, but as they were a moment ago. That moment is small, tiny, fractions of a second, but it is not zero, and zero matters. Because the present, if it exists, would have to be instantaneous, a perfect boundary between past and future, a moment with no duration. And you cannot experience something with no duration. Your brain needs time to process information, to integrate signals, to construct meaning. By the time awareness happens, the event has already passed. This means something profound. Every experience you have is already a memory by the time you have it. Not a long-term memory, but a reconstructed one. You are not experiencing reality directly. You are experiencing a delayed model of it. This is not speculation. It is how perception works. Neuroscience shows that the brain continuously collects sensory data over short intervals and stitches them together into a coherent experience. This creates the illusion of a smooth, flowing now. But that now is always behind reality. You never catch up. And physics agrees. In modern physics, there is no universal present moment, no shared now across the universe. According to relativity, different observers disagree on what is happening at the same time. An event that is present for one observer may already be in the past for another. This is not a philosophical issue. It is built into how space-time works. So if there is no universal present, then what exactly are you living in? The answer becomes uncomfortable. You are always living in the past, just very close to it. This explains why reality feels stable. If experience were truly instantaneous, it would be chaotic, raw, fragmented, overwhelming. You would perceive disconnected flashes with no continuity. Instead, your brain smooths reality by delaying it. The delay is not a flaw. It is a feature. It allows you to function, but it also means you are never at the front edge of reality. You are always just behind it. This challenges a deep intuition we carry, that consciousness rides on the tip of time, experiencing existence as it unfolds. It doesn't. Consciousness trails behind events, assembling meaning after the fact. This has strange consequences. For example, when something unexpected happens, a loud sound, a sudden movement, your body reacts before you consciously notice it. You jump, your heart races, your muscles tense. Only afterward does awareness arrive. This is not because consciousness is slow. It is because consciousness is always second. Action comes first. Experience follows. You are always catching up to yourself. Quantum physics pushes this even further. At the deepest level of reality, time does not behave like a flowing river. Many fundamental equations work just as well forward as backward. There is no built-in direction. The flow of time, the feeling that events move from past to future, emerges from how information is recorded and how entropy increases. But emergence is not fundamentality. Time may not be something the universe does. It may be something observers infer. If that is true, then the present moment is not a feature of reality itself. It is a feature of how conscious systems interact with reality. You don't experience the present. You reconstruct the recent past. This also explains why the present feels so hard to locate. The moment you try to focus on it, it disappears. You think, this moment. But by the time you think it, it is already gone. This isn't poetic language. It's a direct consequence of delay. The now is always just out of reach. And yet, life feels meaningful. So meaning cannot depend on immediacy. It depends on continuity. Your sense of self is not anchored to a single moment. It is anchored to a stream of remembered experience. You are not a point in time. You are a pattern extended across time. This reframes how we think about existence. We often fear that time is constantly stealing moments from us, that the present slips away and disappears forever. But if you are always living in the past, then nothing is being stolen in the way we imagine. Moments are not destroyed, they are completed. Each experience becomes part of the structure of reality the instant it happens, and you arrive just after. This connects to a deeper idea suggested by physics, that reality may be a complete structure, not something constantly updating. Past, present, and future may all exist together, not as flowing time, but as a static whole. In that picture, you are not riding time forward. You are moving through a fixed landscape of events. Your experience updates, but the structure does not. This explains why the past feels real but unreachable. Not because it is gone, but because you are no longer there. It also explains why the future feels unreal. Not because it doesn't exist, but because you don't have access to it yet. The present, then, is not a place. It is an interface. A thin region where consciousness reads from reality. And that reading is delayed. Always. So what does this mean for how we live? It means chasing the present moment is misguided. There is no moment to catch. You cannot outrun the delay. Mindfulness is not about arriving in the present. It is about noticing how experience is constructed. When you pay attention, you are not stepping into now. You are observing the assembly of the recent past into awareness. This does not make life less real. It makes it more honest. Life is not happening in an instant. It is happening in a process. And that process includes delay, memory, anticipation, and interpretation. You are always slightly behind reality. But that gap is where meaning lives. Without delay, there would be no understanding. Without memory, there would be no self. Without reconstruction, there would be no experience at all. So what if you are always living in the past? Then the present is not something you lose. It is something you never had. And yet nothing is wrong. Because reality does not require immediacy to be real. It requires structure. And consciousness does not need to touch the front edge of time to matter. It only needs to exist within the flow of experience, which it always does. Just a moment late,